Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsyreplays. Welcome back to the channel and another top 5 video. Yes, today we are going to look at the top 5 most rarest tanks in the game. The most rare tanks out there. Now, my voice break. Now, we have previously seen the AU Phase 1. And I mean, I did a video a couple of weeks ago to pretty much say this is the most rare tank in the game. So that, of course, will appear in this video. But what other tanks appear in this video? Now, I'm going to go with number 5, the KV220T. Now, this has been for sale quite a few times, but for some reason, it is only for sale in EU. RU, I think. I don't think it's for sale in Asia, and I know it's never been for sale on the NA server. Wargaming will never tell me why, or I don't know why. No one will ever know why that doesn't get sold on NA or Asia. I've got no freaking idea why, but you know, it is what it is. So number 4 is of course the Kennyotsu. Now this will always be up there in one of the rare tanks in the game. Because Wargaming only sold it for a few minutes or a few hours before they pulled it, because the tank was completely broken. They sold it for $5, $4.99, and the reload was supposed to be pretty much triple what it is, even more than that. I think the reload is like 2 point something seconds, and it was supposed to actually be about 9 seconds, something like that. So instead of Wargaming just removing the tank, they just let the people keep the tank that had the tank. Nowadays it's not as OP as it was. I think now the difference between OP and broken, I mean, broken is just flat out broken. Like Droodle says in his video, it changes the outcome of the game. Whereas OP is just a super strong tank. So I think it has gone from being broken to now just being OP. The only thing it has got really is that DPM. It's got no armor, it's got no penetration, and it's not the quickest, but it's not too bad. If you're bottom tier, you will really struggle. If you come up against tier 4, you're gonna struggle in this tank. You really are. Doesn't matter what DPM you got when you can't freaking penetrate the tanks, and they will just penetrate you easy as hell. But nevertheless, it's still a fun tank to play. Yes, it is tier 3, but it's still a fun tank to play, and it is still one of the easiest tanks in the game to get an ace. You should basically get an ace like every other game in this tank. So that is number 4. And that has pretty much stayed in there. I make these videos every year, so it is good to see sort of every year if there are any new entries. And so far, no, because the next tank, number 3, is the IS-6 Fearless. Now, this a few years ago, quite a few years ago now, would have probably been number 1, because the only way you would have ever been able to get this tank is if you won in an event. If you won it for an event where they only gave it to pretty much like 2 players or 5 players or something like that for each server. So yeah, it was very rare indeed. Of course, over the last couple of years, Wargaming had put it in the ratings battles, so it was a lot easier to get, not a lot easier, but a lot more of these were out there than they originally was, which originally pissed the people off that already had the tank, because it was special to them. You know, they earned it fair and square, and it's a shame because Wargaming don't do these kind of events now. They don't do them. The last one was actually of the IS-6 Fearless. They done it twice. They've done 2 events, or maybe even 3 events, where you could win the IS-6 Fearless, but they haven't done an event like that for absolutely, what, 3-4 years maybe. And I'd like to see them do more of these kind of events where the whole of the blitz community is fighting for the chance to get this tank. Wargaming have now removed it from ratings, and that has now been replaced. So over the next few years, it will probably get a bit more rarer, because no one is now able to get the tank. And because it has been removed from ratings, the next tank on the list is the tank that has replaced it. So coming in at number 2 for the most rare tank in the game is the Fearless. Is the Lorraine Fearless. Yes, so currently the only way to get this is through ratings, and it's only been there for at least, what, 2 months or something like that. So not many people at all has this tank. Now with the IS-6 Fearless, It's not as rare as this tank because Wargaming accidentally put it in the gift store a while ago. Obviously, you could get the IS-6 Fearless from these events that, as I just spoke about, and you could also get it from the ratings. Whereas this, you can only get from ratings, and that is literally it. So definitely at number 2 for the most rare tank in the game. Now, I'm really not a lover of this tank. You struggle to do damage, you don't really bounce anything, it's got no armor. So yeah, it's a very difficult tank to play because obviously it's a 4-shell autoloader, it's got no armor, you've got that mega long reload, you've got 2.3 seconds for each clip, for each shell, 2 seconds, you shoot another 2 seconds. I mean, if that was like 1.5 seconds or 1 second between each shell, then yeah, it would be much better. So I do struggle in the tank, and I could see, I don't know if a lot of people will struggle in the tank because those that got the tank are actually good players. They pretty much up there in the top of the ratings every time, and you know, they've managed to get the tank. But it's not a tank, when you get it, it's not a tank that you're going to play often because it really isn't that great. But of course, number 1 is still the AE Phase 1. Now, the only way you're going to get this tank currently is if you buy the battle pass and you're lucky enough to get it in the crates once you've reached level 80 in the battle pass. But once you reach level 80, you still need to then get more of these charm things to open up a crate. You need 100 of them to open up 1 crate. Now, this is literally a 0.01% drop rate. Yes, you haven't heard that wrong. It's not 0.1 or it's not 1, it is 0.01% chance to get the tank, and that is not a lot of people that will get the tank. I've seen this occasionally, but I hardly ever see this tank on the battlefield. Of course, if you're one of the lucky ones that has managed to get this tank, then yeah, you are very lucky indeed. You've got more chance in winning the lottery than you have winning this tank. Now, will it ever come for sale? Now, what Wargaming could do in the future is replace this with another new tank, and I don't think they're going to sell it then outright. Maybe then it could go into another event where you can actually win it in an event, or maybe in the next couple of years, or the next year or so, they could remove then the Fearless and put this in the ratings. I don't know, but one thing for sure, I don't think they will remove it from the crates just to then sell it outright. I do think they'll bring it back in a different way, but we're looking a while yet, and maybe then a new tank will replace this in the battle pass crate at the end. Who knows? Who knows? Or it could just stay as it is forever and be a mega rare tank. But I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. I'm meadsyreplays, and I'll catch you all soon. Bye bye. With